going to introduce our speaker, Jeff Klien. Jeff is, since 2004, has spoken in front of over 600 audiences. I think I shared that with you the other day, and really has addressed in those audiences over tens of thousands of business professionals. Recognized as expert in the importance of words. Everybody believes words matter, right? So words we use when talking about our businesses. Jeff's proven track record of brainstorming initiatives, finding leads, tracking referrals, making presentations, facilitating negotiations, spearheading projects, and closing deals. All those things are pretty important, right? He spent 12 years working in the motion picture and TV industry. Were you in front of the camera, Jeff, or behind the camera? Behind the camera. As a prop master and an art director. I wish I knew what that was, but my son's in radio, television, film, so he could probably explain that to me. And has worked on both charity and association boards, and worked with the Texas Rangers, the ball club, right? Not the policing agency, okay? So, and the Dallas Stars, I figured since those were together. He's the founder of the Speaker Co-op and a cooperative community of business and professional speakers, which they've got over 1,200 members. And when he's not working, he's talking about movies, playing poker. Are you good? Do you play like in any competition or whatever? Yeah? Oh, well, not my league. And he's also, is this proven? Do you have statistics on this being the most awesome? The most awesome uncle in the world? Okay, so you have proof. Okay, because I wanted to, make sure of that. I've got 5 kids. So.
I have t-shirt proof.
Okay. So today he's here to share us some practical tools and tips on, as we titled it, as you saw on the calendar, 30 Seconds to Success. And with that, I'd like the studio audience as well as Facebook Live audience to welcome Jeff Klien. All right. Jeff, anything else you need? We got you set up?
I think we're good to
All right,
go.
appreciate it. We'll see you in a...
I am not seeing it as live. I heard the voice, but there's
I got it.
good. Interesting. Mine says the video will begin in a moment.
Your laptop, phone, maybe that's it. It was 2001, and I had just started my new business, which was an ad agency. Came out of a lot of other life experiences, including being behind the camera in the film business. And a friend of mine said, you should come to our networking group. What's that? So I showed up at a country club. There were about 50, 60 people in the room. They were in little groups around the room. Some of the groups were friendly and some of the groups not so much. We sat down at tables and the guy got up and started talking about the group, and he said, in just a moment we're all going to do our 30-second commercials. I turned to my friend and I said, you didn't tell me I was going to have to do anything. She said, just do what everybody else does. Don't worry about it. So that was the first time I did a 30-second elevator pitch. I listened to other people. Some of them were interesting, some not so much. Some of them were entertaining, some not so much. A couple of people actually had the whole room finish their commercial for them. That's always entertaining. You've all seen that by now. I don't know what I said that day, but what I do know is that whatever I said, it didn't get me any results. But that was the beginning of my journey of figuring out this whole 30-second thing that we all dive into, sometimes with no knowledge, sometimes with a little bit, sometimes with too much. But I took a couple of classes. Back in the day, we had a thing called Fun Ed in Dallas. I took a Fun Ed class, a 30-second commercial. And then in 2004, I connected with a group called CEO Space. And then every Friday at lunch, we had a CEO Space lunch where we taught the elevator pitch. And I say we because at first it was they, and then it became a we because I joined the organization. I started helping speak at the lunches and coach. And then other people said, hey, Jeff, we want you to come do the same thing at our group. And that was the beginning of my speaking, which was great. It connects to advertising. Networking is the most basic form of advertising. And slowly and surely, I started speaking more and more, and I wound up leaving the advertising behind and turning the speaking into my business, including Speaker Co-op, as David mentioned, which is a group of people who speak to get clients. I've got a handout, like everybody should. You'll take one and pass it on. Yes, sir. And there's a second handout. That's a worksheet. This is some other information. On the worksheet is what we're going to focus on. Because what you're going to find is some ideas and tools and tips that you can use when you leave this meeting to do a better 30-second elevator pitch. Which is probably why you're listening or watching. Because we want to, and what's the result? What does that mean? What that means is we want to get referrals from our elevator pitches. So that's the whole point of doing it. I asked Karen you a question earlier right after we met. What was the question I asked you? Do you remember? Do you remember, Dodd?
Who are you looking to meet?
Yeah, who do you want to meet? I didn't ask either one of you, what do you do? I asked, who do you want to meet?
Right.
That's the question you want to be asking. Not, and you want to be prepared to answer, answer that question in a way that's really helpful. Now, both of you are experienced enough that neither one of you gave me the answer that we hear too often, things like anybody who wants to buy or sell a house.
Right.
That's a waste of time. Everybody's time.
Right.
Especially at the chamber when 4 people get up once a week and say the same thing. If you start asking for referrals by job title or by a demographic description of people, then you'll actually get referrals. But we'll get to that. I don't want to jump ahead. I use different worksheets for different talks. I just need, oh, here we go. Thank you. Okay, so one of the things that's most important, and this is one of the reasons people don't give enough referrals, is because people think a referral is a recommendation. That's not true. A referral is just an opportunity. Okay, a referral is an opportunity. You can make recommendations, and you should, but you can introduce people as I do the same day you meet them. Okay, so if Dodd had said he wanted to meet, you said plumbers and a couple people I don't know. If you had said roofers, I have a couple of people I can introduce you to. Sure. And I'm glad to do that. Because giving referrals is the second reason we network. It contributes to the second reason we network. So the reason I bring this up is people get way bogged down on, I can only refer people I know, like, and trust. That's not true.
No.
You can refer anybody to anybody, just qualify the introduction. Hey, I just met Dodd. He's looking to meet roofers. You're a roofer. Hey, Dodd, this is a quality roofer. He did my mom's roof. So I trust him. You guys get together and have a conversation. So I've qualified both sides of the conversation, one with a recommendation and one with just a referral. Because it's our job, especially when we become a member of a networking group, to give referrals to our fellow members and create opportunities for them. It's not our job to close sales. So I'm going to say that again. It's our job to create opportunities for our fellow members. There's some more worksheets over here.
Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Somebody was asking online.
And if you want a copy of the worksheet, oh, you're taking a picture of it? That's good. As well, though, you can email Jeff at speakercoop.com. Sorry, too many email addresses. That's the old one. Jeff at speakercoop.com, and I will get you a copy. As a matter of fact, at the bottom of the worksheet is some reference to jeffs30seconds.com, which is my website with free networking education. That's JFFS30seconds.com. And there's an education page where you can download free stuff. You'll have to opt in for free with your email address, but you can download some good stuff like my one-on-one checklist to use during your one-on-one meetings. We'll talk a little bit about one-on-ones as we move on. So give referrals. Don't hold them back just because you don't know somebody too well. Why do we network? There's 2 reasons, and only 2. Anybody? Ideas?
Other people.
To help other people. That's part of the process. That's not the reason. Well, put a little differently, it's reason number 2. So reason number 1 is to grow our business. Reason number 2 is to help other people grow their business. So that's correct. You had words in my head. But networking is not selling, not sales. We're networking to make it's about making warm introductions, which is the referral. So those are some of the blanks on the worksheet, not sales, warm introductions. We're also going to be specific and only ask for one introduction per 30-second commercial. One referral per commercial. People are afraid they won't, if they don't tell us everything in 30 seconds, they'll get nothing, and the opposite is true. If you try to tell us everything, you get nothing. Because we just get confused. We can't pay that much attention. So you ask for one thing each commercial, next week you ask for something else. You know, that's why we join a group, so we can be regularly attending and tell stories about what we do so people know. And it's my recommendation that you only ask to meet referral partners, that you don't spend any time in your 30 seconds asking for customers. First of all, don't ask for people in the room to become your customer. Second of all, don't ask for customers in your commercial. Okay? Too many people show up, get all the business cards, put us all on their email lists. That's not networking. That's phishing. And it's not phishing well, because none of us meet with those people. And most of us report them to their newsletter provider because we didn't ask to be on their list. And nobody wants to have one-on-one with that person because we know they're going to just try to sell us something. So take all the salesy talk out of your commercial. Anything in your 30 seconds that has to do with you, turn it to our clients. In other words, we help our clients do X, Y, and Z. Not we help you do X, Y, and Z. And one of the other things a lot of people will do is they'll spend 10 of their 30 seconds introducing themselves at the beginning of their commercial. Stop doing that. I'll talk more about it later, but stop doing that. If you want to tell us a testimonial story, start with the testimonial story. Don't tell us all that 10 seconds of what you do, because you don't have time to tell the story usually if you do that. And we're not going to remember your name at the front of your commercial anyway. And if you're at a lot of chambers, they say your name before you get up. So you're wasting the time that you've been given, and you don't want to, you want to be done before the cowbell goes off or the timer or what have you. So your name at the beginning doesn't help you, doesn't serve you. We know people aren't remembering it yet. True story, there was a Lion, I think it was a Lions Club, but there was a service organization, and they asked people to introduce their guests. And all the rest of the room was supposed to do was say, "Good morning, guest." So it would be, "This is my guest Lloyd, and he's in Stream Energy," or not Stream, and he helps people with their electric and their cell phone bills. And then everybody in the room was supposed to say, "Good morning, Lloyd." Well, by the time they got there, most of the room forgot his name. What was their only job? To say good morning to him. So they changed how they do their introductions to where they say, "This is my guest, and he's with Stream, and he helps with people's bills. Say good morning to Lloyd." And then everybody says, "Good morning, Lloyd." Because we're just not listening yet at the beginning of a sentence. And I'll talk a little more about that. So what I've done is I've divided up the world into two kinds of referral partners. And referral partners are the people who are trying to sell something to the same people you are. So if you're looking to sell to rich people in Highland Village or Highland Park, then they're also looking to sell to rich people in Highland Village or Highland Park. And some of those people are selling something similar to you, and some of them are selling something that has nothing to do with what you do. If it's similar, we call those a synergy partner. If it's different, we call them a strategic partner. And on the worksheet is a little table. You start with who your client is, help figure out who your referral partners are. But we don't use the client column for our commercial, per se. We just use it to help us come up with referral partners. And that was part of our conversation before the meeting about who your referral partners are. And being in real estate, Dodd's referral partners are all the other people who service the house. Those are all synergy partners because they have something to do with the house.
Right.
But the definitions are up to you, whether somebody's synergy or strategy. That includes insurance and title and mortgage and all the obvious things, right?
Right.
But who else wants to meet your client that's not so obvious? And then we start talking about a hairstylist or a manicurist or a massage therapist. And the beauty of those people is they're going to be among the first to know that somebody's wanting to sell their house or if somebody's moving. They're also among the first people that people hire when they move to a new city. So it would be beneficial to a realtor to have some of those people in their referral network. Now, you likely can't give them as many referrals, but you can still give them referrals. And as long as you can help them with their business, then you can be referral partners. There are some people who just become referral sources, and that's okay, but no, we know going in that they're not somebody that we can help with their business. You know, some of us want to meet the concierge at a hotel or the concierge at a retirement, community, or they're all retired, but it's we're not talking about a senior center, we're talking about a high-rise building where all the people who live there are affluent retired people. I can't help that concierge there with his job, except to be a resource that helps him look better to his clients. But he wants, money. He wants referral money. He wants, again, to have good resources for the people who live in the building, but he can't be a referral partner. He can be a referral source. So it's okay to ask for referral sources, just make the differentiation. So that, along those lines, don't try to ask for people you've never met at a chamber. Because if they're not networking, it's hard to teach somebody what that all means. There are certain job titles we just never see at a chamber. And there's also job titles we will never see. So for example, somebody says, well, I want to meet doctors. Great. Who else wants to meet doctors? And the first answer is usually, pharmaceutical reps. Not really, because they're assigned a list of doctors. They're not responsible for generating revenue, at least 95% of the time. They're assigned a list of doctors. They see those doctors. They market to those doctors, and they go home. They're not looking for new doctors. So they're not really in a position to understand why they would give you a referral. It's just a fact. You may find one that you become friends with, and they give you some introductions, but it's not worth your time asking to meet that person in your 30-second commercial, in my opinion. And that's why. Because you can't contribute to their business, and you would have to teach them what it means to be a networker. So ask for people that we know we can meet, and that we don't have to teach everything to. The other part of that is if somebody else asks to meet the person you want to meet, change your commercial before you get to you. Don't ask for the same thing in the same meeting. But go have a conversation with that person about becoming referral partners. Because even if you want to meet the same referral partners, you can still become second level referral partners, right? So it may be that plumbers are great for me too, but it may also be that I want to sell to plumbers. But let's both meet plumbers to find out about that homeowner. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Any questions so far? Anybody struggling to think of who their referral partners might be?
I understand the words, but I'm not sure I understand examples of the difference between a strategic referral partner and a synergy referral.
Thank you for asking. The question is, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure how it really computes and makes sense to me, right? What's your name?
Randy.
Randy. So what business are you in, Randy?
I'm a consultant, management consultant.
Management consultant. So who's a good prospect for you?
A business that is not achieving their revenue objectives.
Business that's not achieving their revenue objectives. Can you give me a little bit more?
Manufacturing company that sells to the defense industry.
Okay, so a manufacturing company that's in the defense business. Okay, so who else in the room has that company as one of their listed prospects, or a prospect that they would be interested in meeting? Well, you should be raising your hand to sell in commercial electric. Yeah. You should be doing it for web, right? For marketing online, right? Okay. If they're in growth mode, you can be beneficial if they're if they're recruiting people from out of town, a realtor. Okay, so the electricity guy, the realtor, and the web marketing, are any of those related to the services you provide to that company, Randy?
No.
Okay, so they would all be strategic referral partners.
Okay.
Perhaps the CFO for hire would be a synergy partner.
Got it. makes sense.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking. I'm glad that's important. What happens with the definitions is they're up to us. So we get to decide what box they go in. It's not black or white, but it helps us come up with other ideas of who our referral partners can be. And it may be that you don't want to do commercial electric, and that's okay. But we make a lot of money on commercial. Just takes a lot of time. It just takes more work.
Same thing with my industry.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
of time to produce.
But usually the rewards are in line with the time,
Sure,
if it happens.
sure.
So, any other questions about referral partners? The reason we're going to ask for referral partners instead of customers is we'll get more introductions because we're asking to meet people to help them grow their business, not to sell them something. So every person who pays more money to Jenna, I'm unconsciously thinking they'll pay less money to me. It's not really true, but it's one of the reasons I stopped teaching to ask for customers and started teaching to only ask for referral partners. And in our language in the commercial, we say, I'm looking to meet that plumber so we can help each other grow our business. And it's a lot easier to make the introduction for most people. But we still have to really sometimes kick people in the butt to make introductions. You know, for example, if you're in a group with a Stream or Ambit or power broker of any sort and you haven't shopped your electric bill with them, why the heck not? You have nothing to lose. If they can't save you money, you won't change your electric service. But quit paying TXU. I mean, how many bankruptcies have they been through? So anyway, that's that kind of thing. You know, if the person in the networking group that you're at every week has a book or a CD for $20, why haven't you bought it? Why aren't you supporting them? It's a little way to support people, but it goes a long way. So when you know the ways we can help people in our business, let's not have to be asked or kicked in the butt to do it. Let's just do it. I'll kick them in the butt, and then you guys go out and do it. Because that's what being in a group is all about. It's helping support each other, helping each other grow. And guess what? If they have a book or a CD, you're going to learn something that you can use when you give them referrals. And it might just help your business too. Who knows? Right? So let's talk about the three things that you want to have happen, the three results from your 30-second commercial. The first result you want to have is a referral today, which is why we asked for just one thing. The second thing we want to have is a referral later. So we're going to tell a memorable story so people remember why we want to meet a plumber or whoever. Any idea on what the third thing might be? I've talked about it a little bit already. One-on-one. A networking one-on-one. So when you hear somebody ask to meet someone that you also want to meet, whether it's a client prospect or a referral partner prospect, have a one-on-one with them first. And find out why they want to meet them and explain why you want to meet them, and you may already be able to generate referrals right away. Now, we all know that some of those one-on-ones are people trying to sell us something. And if you think a one-on-one is a sales meeting, you're losing business. You're absolutely losing business because nobody will want to meet with you. I heard about somebody recently who brought her upline manager to a sales meeting and showed a video. And it happened like 2 or 3 times before we heard about it to be able to stop it. And that was her idea of one-on-one. Sometimes people want to show you their sales deck. And on the one hand, that's beneficial to help people understand your business. But if you're going to do it, make sure you say, first I want to tell you who I want to meet, and let me show you this one piece of the presentation so you see why I want to meet them. Don't just show your whole presentation, because automatically you're trying to sell me something. Now, you want to know how to get out of that meeting?
Yes, please.
Yes.
It's very easy. I'm available for a networking one-on-one where we share who each of us wants to meet. I'm not in the market for a new supplement, for a new financial advisor. And if they are planning to sell you something, they won't have the meeting.
Or they will, because if they're convinced they're such a good salesperson.
Well, no,
they'll
usually if
convince
you
to
say,
change your mind.
usually if you start with, I'm open to a networking meeting where we share who we want to meet, and I'm not in the market for you, most of them will move on because they don't think it's a good use of their time.
If you're in the thought process, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, most of them will move on at that point.
Right.
But that says they're not interested in you providing referral
Of course.
sources to them.
Correct.
Right. Well, then you don't want to meet with them.
That's, yeah, that's.
That's pretty stupid on their part.
Well, of
Yeah,
course,
it
but the point is that you're getting rid of what I call a me networker
Oh, okay.
and not wasting your time
Right.
because they're already wasting their time.
Right. Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, yeah. I remember those coffees with New York Life reps and others.
Yeah, we're pretty out front with our networking.
Yes, as a group,
When
you
we,
teach-
when we teach that basically what a one-on-one is not.
Right.
And essentially, we're really driving, this group, we tend to drive to the one-on-one. I understand getting a referral today, you know, kind of a BNI model or whatever.
Yeah, but nothing replaces a relationship.
But we really
You bet.
focus on building, that's why we have 800 members.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
you know, we focus on connections, and even when somebody hadn't been around for a while, they come back. It's kind of like you
Right.
come back to church. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't mean, you know.
No, I know what you mean.
It's not a
Absolutely.
religious experience,
Yeah.
but by the same token, you miss people.
Yeah.
When somebody hasn't showed up for a while, you find yourself reaching out to them. I mean,
Yeah, and you
saying-
need to reiterate the education more than once and things like that. Yes, sir.
So could you repeat that sentence? I'm open to
I'm open to a networking one-on-one where we share who each of us wants to meet. And if necessary, I'm not in the market for another income opportunity. Or I'm happy with my financial team. And I even had a guy who he was somebody he used to be. I used to be his client, and he changed professions. And he was calling me about going to dinner, and he's a financial advisor now. And I said, "Hey, I'd love to visit with you and catch up, but I'm not a prospect." He didn't take me to dinner,
Yeah,
and that's okay because that was his agenda.
sure.
And I'm okay, you know, again, I didn't, that was why he was going to take me to dinner. You know, if the catching up part isn't important or
Yeah,
germane, then we won't catch up. But let's not waste anybody's time.
transparency and authenticity are both pretty key to building relationships. Anyway.
Absolutely. Transparency and authenticity. Thank you for that, David. Absolutely. No question about it. Any other questions along on that front?
That's good.
Okay. The last piece I want to touch on is the 3 things not to do in your 30-second commercial. And I'll also pass out another piece of paper, an enrollment form, and I'm going to pass my bucket for business cards because you have a chance to win something on the enrollment form.
Okay.
And if you don't have a card with you, I have blanks. You can put your name and email address in the bucket. So if you want to win, I need your name and email address. And I may be sending you an email. I don't promise I will, because right now I'm not doing any newsletters, but you might get a newsletter from me and that you can opt out of. Okay, so the first thing we don't want to do in our 30-second commercial is we don't want to ask questions. Now that doesn't mean when you're doing a speech you don't use questions, but in the 30 seconds, questions don't work. So if you were thinking of asking a question, turn it into a statement. So for example, instead of saying, who in here knows somebody who had a car accident, say, some of us in here have friends who've had car accidents recently. Just turn it into a positive, affirmative statement. Because the whole thing about people who should be raising their hands who don't is demoralizing. You're trying to get people to act in a way that they're not used to acting. Just skip the questions altogether. You know, it's not, did you know that 80% of statistics are all made up on the spot? It's 80% of statistics are all made up on the spot. For a, exactly. So that's the first don't. The second don't is a little controversial because there's this international organization that teaches it differently. And my number 2 don't is don't start or end with your name. We've already talked a little bit about why not to start with your name. The reason you don't end with your name is because this is a commercial. It's called a commercial for a reason. And effective advertising ends with a call to action. So the last thing you say in your advertisement is to write the name of the referral I'm looking to meet on your business card and pass it to me. We'll send this to the other table.
Go back here. I use that.
You use that?
Yeah.
Well, you either got it from me or Kendall Lee Pernin, because that's where it came from. I originally got it from her, and went through that CEO space event. And so, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a name on my business card that I thought of when you did your commercial, and I'm going to give it to you, and you're going to email me, hey Jeff, thanks for offering to introduce me to Bob the plumber. Please forward this to Bob and CC me. And then I can follow up. And then I'll forward it to Bob. Hey, met Dodd, you guys need to meet. See you later. And then I've given the referral and I'm done. I'm out of the loop. Which is great. Then I'm not responsible for the referral anymore. I've given it, I'm done. Now that doesn't mean that sometimes it's, hey, your friend hasn't responded to me. What's that all about? And you can pick up the phone and, hey, do me a favor and talk to this guy. Well, he wants to sell me something. Well, you might want to buy it. But of course, if we're given the referral partners, it's talk to him because he has referrals for you already. It's not he's going to try to sell you something. But now I will say along those lines, because again, the referral partners are going to be making client prospect introductions. If you're not willing to take a sales meeting from somebody that's been referred to you, then why should I take a sales meeting to somebody you referred to me? Or why should I help you get a sales meeting if you're not willing to take a sales meeting? We're all in business. Part of being in business is letting people pitch to us. Now you can manage your time appropriately and have conversations on the phone and decide, that it's not something that makes sense for you, but you need to have some meetings. Yes, sir.
Sometimes a pitch is not a pitch. For example, I met somebody at a networking event, and I had coffee with her yesterday, and she is a financial planner. And so before we had the meeting, I asked her, when we get together, could you please explain to me what makes you different than all the other financial planners that I've given? And so she didn't sell me, but she explained the answer to that question.
Well,
and I found it very educating.
Well, and that was, did the mic pick Randy up okay? Okay, that was a good example of a networking one-on-one. Because you talked about who she wants to meet, how she serves her clients, in a way that you can actually refer her now.
Right.
Yeah. So that could be a good question during a one-on-one.
It was clear.
Why
I
are you
told her
different?
that I always had what it is that she's selling.
Exactly.
Just like you said.
Yeah. So you didn't, and it wasn't a sales meeting for anybody, but that's okay. The meetings could become networking meetings instead of sales meetings. But the primary point is don't refuse to take sales meetings. Don't let a one-on-one be a sales meeting. But on the other end of it, don't refuse to be in somebody's pipeline if you expect people to put you in their pipeline. It's as simple as that. I actually had somebody tell me the other day that not talking to salespeople was a legitimate business strategy. And I had no response to that.
So you don't talk to anybody.
But aren't we all in sales?
Well, that's true. But this is somebody who's decided that they only want to be able to offer bids to their customers, but they don't want to let anybody offer something for them that they're not already calling about. That's not a legitimate business strategy.
Right.
It's a good temporary one sometimes.
It's a good
Sometimes you
temporary
just
strategy to keep you from,
need
so
to be
because
in a
you'll be out
bubble.
of business next year, or
No, because ADD, shiny object syndrome, sometimes
Well-
you just need to put yourself in a bubble and focus.
If
and
you're
then you
too,
can
if
come
you're
back
too,
out.
yes, but then the answer is, I can meet with you in 4 weeks.
Absolutely.
Not, I refuse to meet with salespeople. Especially when it was a referral
Yeah, referrals are a little bit.
from somebody who's not intending to waste their time, which is, that's a whole, anyway. I don't want to go too far down that road, but I want to tell, I'm just making sure people know that not everybody gets it.
Right.
Any guesses on what the third don't is in your 30-second elevator pitch? Go ahead.
I was gonna say don't sell.
That's right.
So,
Don't sell to the room.
right.
Can't say that enough. Don't sell to the room. Don't sell to the room. And anytime you use you language in your commercial, you're selling to the room. Even if it's in your tagline. Where we help you, blah, blah, blah. Change your tagline for your 30-second commercial to we help our customers. Not we help you. Because once we hear sales language, boom, big wall goes up.
So you have to use you at least once. If you know someone or if you know.
Yes, you can use the word
Yeah,
YOU,
but you said
Okay.
don't
but don't
ask
use
questions.
you language.
Okay.
So in other words,
But you said don't ask questions.
right, and I don't.
So
In other
you
words,
shouldn't
the
say,
call
"Do
to
you
action is
know
not
anybody?"
if you know somebody, it's write the name of the person you know.
That's different, I like that.
So my call to action is always, please write the name of the person I just told a story about on your business card and pass it to me. Not if you know someone. Assume the positive.
And if they don't, they won't.
Right. And often if they do, they won't. But we're working on it.
That's right.
Questions about the three don'ts? Any questions about what's on the enrollment form? I'm going to give away the digital download, which is a $20 version of my MP3 on 30 Seconds to Success and my ebook together. So you get both for being in the room and getting your name drawn. Then, of course, I also offer a workshop. The next boot camp is coming up, I want to say August 7th. I think it's Monday afternoon. Randy, congratulations. You won you won the digital download.
Okay.
Any other questions? Who wants a new commercial right now? Serious?
I'll do it.
All right, Lloyd raised his hand first.
He beat me.
So which referral partners is this commercial going to be about?
Apartment managers and.
Okay, that's it, one thing.
Okay, apartment managers.
And what problem do you solve for apartment managers?
Don't.
Hey,
Sure
Lloyd,
you
you
do.
want to come up for the camera?
Huh?
You want to come up and stand up for the
No.
camera?
Sure you do. You do. You solve the problem you solve for apartment managers is you help their clients save money on other things so they don't ever have trouble paying their rent.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That's what he does, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so since I know your business, I'll jump ahead.
Okay.
You okay with that? Okay, so Dallas is one of the busiest real estate markets today, right now. And that's not just in purchasing, it's also in renting. So rents are up. And apartment managers sometimes struggle to get good tenants who can afford to live where they're living. One way that we help apartment managers get tenants is by saving those tenants money on their electric bill. I've been helping people save money on their electric bill for
5 years.
5 years, and I work with a $12 billion company headquartered right here in Dallas with no debt. And I want to meet apartment managers to help their tenants save money. My name is Lloyd with Stream. Please write the name of an apartment manager you know on your business card and pass it to me.
One comment. You used the I word twice, and you said don't.
No, I never said don't use I.
I said don't use you.
Don't use you.
Don't use you. Okay, then I wrote that down wrong, and I
Okay,
apologize.
there. Well, you heard I said you and you heard I.
Okay, it's a natural, automatic.
Yes.
Kind of like saying, it's okay to say you if you're saying, if you will write down the name
Right.
and number.
Right. Would you?
or write down the name and number, okay. But it's saying, if you need electrical providers,
Right.
Yes.
I don't say you in that sense, like
Exactly.
trying to sell to the specific room instead of,
It's not, we have,
I thought I heard you say, don't say I, say we. We help, blah, blah, blah.
no, I said
Yeah.
substitute our clients for you. So instead of saying, we save you money on your cell phone and electric bills, we save our clients money on their
Okay,
cell phone and
all right.
electric bills.
I'm with you.
Okay, good.
Thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome. Glad to
I'm
do
a
it.
slow learner sometimes.
It's okay. You'll
all right.
also,
Help the rest of us get there.
and if you really don't want to write your own commercials, I think I'll actually write some for you on the enrollment form there.
So where do you come down on during? I run into this a lot. One-on-ones, people are always asking for their ideal client, and my experience is that most people don't know that other person's ideal client. So I've been telling people, I guess I've been telling them to figure out who their strategic referral partners are.
Yeah.
So
That's the power of networking.
yeah, that.
I ask people about their sweet spot. And if you download the one-on-one checklist that's on my website, it says, what's your sweet spot? And try to get somebody to narrow it down. Well, it's a company with, is it 50 employees? Is it 25 employees? Is it 100 employees? What's the best number for you? Doesn't mean you won't work with others. But for example, for Randy's business, there's a point at which companies hire somebody full-time to do what he does. And he knows the break point. It's probably between 25 and 50 employees, but he knows that number. And that's what you want to be able to gather from him during your one-on-one. Did you take a picture of one of these two for the video?
Actually, if you go back to your unique value discussion we had a few weeks ago, if you're having a one-on-one with me or anybody, your ideal, I'm not going to answer you probably very effectively as who's my ideal client that I'm looking for. I'm actually going to, but if you did ask me, tell me about your best client.
Right, and that's usually what happens is I'll say, who's your best prospect? And then if they don't really know the answer, I say, well, tell me about the client that makes you the most money.
Yeah, I mean, you're not asking
that
them
you
to
want
do.
to work with.
That you want to work with. Absolutely. That's really important, Jenna, because let's not ask to meet the people who are a pain in the butt. Let's ask to meet the people we want to replicate.
Right.
That's often referred to as an avatar, right?
That's what I call it,
Right.
and my partner.
Avatar, yeah, sure.
Client persona.
That's a more
Description of your perfect
yeah,
client.
that's a more now
Contemporary term.
word, but yeah.
You're getting into my language now.
Yes,
very
I know.
specific.
Yeah, and I've always
I wonder why.
even when I had the ad agency,
You-
we
you
would
too
help
much.
people figure out the demographics of who their best prospect is. And I recommend narrowing it down to 3, and only marketing to those 3.
Do one first, though, please.
Yeah, do
Just
one- do at
finish
least one.
One first.
Yeah, do 1, do 2, do 3, but don't go over.
Right.
You know,
Don't give them a check.
don't do 4, 5, 6 until you've sold to 1, 2, and 3.
And because I've been following what Jenna's been saying, I've been marketing to the group that I want to take care of.
Yeah,
And so the sales will start.
that's right. That's how it works. It works the right way. All right. Any other questions? I have the workshops on a regular basis, once a month or once every 6 weeks or so. And coming soon will be the intermediate and advanced versions. Thank you very much.
Great.
How do I
Thanks,
get my
Jeff.
digital bundle?
When you're setting your goals, you have the metrics, you have the processes, you have the infrastructure, you have all the data, the quantitative data that you need, and even some qualitative data. But what we don't look at, we look at all of these things.